Just one of them days when I wanna be all alone, when I'm angry inside. Don't take it personal, I just wanna be all alone when I think I treat you wrong. Just one of them days. Welcome to the Watch That Joan podcast. My name is Mary.
And I'm James.
And you should be able to tell which movie we are reviewing today based on my terrible rendition of that Monica song, One of Them Days. What's the name of the movie, James?
One of them days.
So this movie came out really perfectly Martin Luther King Day weekend. What was it, January 17th?
His birthday's on the 15th. The holiday's on the 20th. But the movie came out, I'm not sure.
The holiday was on the 20th. Yeah, it came out on the 17th. You're right. The holiday is on the 20th. So, yeah, it is a female buddy comedy film according to Wikipedia, and that's exactly, what it is. So it was adapted from a screenplay by Sarita Singleton, and it stars Keke Palmer and the multi-award winning R&B artist SZA.
I just had a SZA kick recently, because I like soulful, sultry, like R&B now, and I think she definitely fits that style, and I like her instruments in a lot of her songs and
beautiful instrumentation.
Beautiful, yeah, no.
And it's like her lyrics are ghetto, but also very vulnerable and like romantic too.
Which I feel like that's kind of a good description for this movie too.
It is. Do you have a favorite SZA song? Now I'm interested because I didn't know you listened to her at all. I thought you wouldn't like her because you wouldn't understand her, because I only understand like 20% of what she says too. Have to listen very intently to understand what this woman is saying in her songs.
Was it the day one? Da 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 da. I don't know.
Is that Good called... Day? Good day on my mind. Try to get that stress out.
I don't know.
I need rest out. Okay, don't worry about it.
I do not know. I look at you.
Snooze?
Yeah, snooze.
Okay, yeah, I can't lose. I look at you.
I told you, I don't know these words, yo.
I don't think anyone does.
Snooze.
But yeah, snooze is very sweet. But yeah, so what I don't really see is was Issa Rae a producer in this movie?
She was.
Okay.
She was a producer. Okay. Yep.
Okay.
And Issa Rae is famous for what show, Mary?
Insecure. Rap shit. Diaries, not Diaries. Is it Diaries of the Awkward Black Girl or Life of the Awkward Black Girl?
She was also, in the other movie we reviewed, off the book.
Oh, American Fiction.
American Fiction.
But I don't know if she had any like producer or directorial roles in that film. I'm trying to say the things that she like worked on, you know what I mean? Like
but I think that, I don't know, I kind of forgot about her.
What?
Or maybe Issa Rae. I feel like she comes and goes. Like, she was really big a few years ago. And
no, she hasn't. Because you haven't. She's been. What do you mean? She was in Spider-Man. Literally, she was in Spider-Man. Yeah, she was in the Spider-Verse movie. She was a Spider-Man.
Oh. Okay.
She was in the Barbie movie.
Oh, she was in the Barbie movie. That was last year, though. Okay, I'm recency biased. That's it. Recency bias.
Last year isn't far, and then literally, like I said, she had rap shit. I feel like
so because Barbie came out in 2023.
But even so, she still was doing things. You might have not been keeping up with it, but I feel like Issa Rae hasn't gone anywhere. But okay, so let's dive right into this movie, guys. So the movie starts out with Keke Palmer. She is waitressing at a diner, and in the movie, she is known. Well, she plays a character named Drew Jones. Drew spelled Dreux. I thought that was really cute. And she lives with her roommate Alyssa. And automatically Drew is an incredible waitress. She knows every customer by name. She knows their favorite order. She has witty banter with them. She's really connected to the people she serves, and everyone loves her. So she has a job interview later on. So, Alyssa comes to pick her up from work, and then Drew's like, listen, I'm going to take a nap, and you know, to prepare for this job interview. And she asked Alyssa, she said, "Hey, did you give our landlord, Uchi, who is their very angry landlord who is now evicting people? Actually, on their way back home, they saw that one of their friends had been evicted from the apartment
Mhm.
complex." So she asks Alyssa, she says, "Hey, did you pay rent?" And she's like, "Yeah, yeah, rent's taken care of, rent's taken care of. You don't have to worry about it." And also, I forgot to mention that also they have a third unwelcome roommate, at least on Drew's end, which is Alyssa's
Boyfriend.
homeless
Boyfriend.
boyfriend, Keyshawn.
Yep.
Like he remember in when we reviewed Challengers, we just find hobosexual.
Ha! Basically, someone who sleeps around so he can have a roof over their head.
That is
That's
Keyshawn.
basically
That is
that's basically
Keyshawn.
what Keyshawn is.
And
Yes.
he is not a good roommate. His shoes are all over the place. He has so many Jordans, and everyone's just like, "How do you have this many Jordans but no job
It makes no sense.
and no home? You're literally homeless." But Alyssa, she is. Let's keep it real. She's stigmatized because Kashawn is packing. But anyway, so yeah, she's like, "I paid the rent." So as soon as as soon as Drew lays down, about to take a nap for her interview, she hears this, like, the police, just like a very aggressive pounding on her front door. She gets up, and it is her landlord, Uchi's, saying, "You need to pay rent or I'm going to evict you tonight." And Drew's like, "We already paid the rent." He's like, "You're a liar." "Don't lie to me." So Alyssa's confused. Drew's confused. She goes to Alyssa and she's like, "You said you paid the rent, right?" And she was like, "Yeah, I gave the money to Kayshawn
Yeah, so I think we all
for him to
kind of
pay the rent."
have yes, we all kind of have that unreliable friend that they know who they
I
are.
got a few of them.
A few of them. You guys know who you are, and Alyssa is one of those friends who I don't think. Yeah, she's definitely like um like she goes with the flow. She's
She's an art hoe.
spiritual, right? She's like, oh, like the universe will bring it to fruition. She just floats around. It seems like, and like you said, she's
She gives
really art.
like I burn sage and drink herbal tea and listen to Erica Badu and only use natural deodorants and just
Yeah,
her life is about pleasure. Kind
yes,
of like a hedonist.
and because of that, she's not even worried about them about to get evicted immediately. She's like, oh well, let's just call him and see what's up because he wouldn't steal from me.
They didn't have to call him. He was right there. And when they looked to
Oh yeah,
find this nigga, he was gone.
he was gone. You're right. You were right. He ran out.
So he literally
He took all his
took money
shoes
and ran away.
and left
Yeah.
everything. All his belongings. It was
And
gone.
it was so funny because Drew was like, "Oh, so he does know how to clean up because he took all his shoes and left." Well,
Exactly.
before they found out he stole their rent money, his shoes are everywhere. So yeah, Keyshawn, it's too late by the time they figure out Keyshawn ran away with their rent money, and they have until what time to pay the rent? He said like
Six o'clock.
Uche
Six.
six
I think it's
o'clock
like
that
6 o'clock.
day.
Yeah.
6 o'clock that day.
So they had like I want to say like 10, 12 hours to pay the rent.
They they have a timestamp of they had like a
Mm.
countdown of how many hours. I forget how many, but they did have a lot of time. Well,
No.
not a lot of time, but you know what I mean. It was a lot of hours, but not a lot of time. If that makes sense. So yeah, by the time they figure out Keyshawn ran away with their money, it was too late. And I think Alyssa found a secondary phone that
She found his
Keyshawn
burner
had.
phone.
She found his burner phone, and I'm like, is he a drug addict? And then she found out that he's been talking to the local bully, Bernice, who have you ever seen any of the Friday movies, James?
I have. You think she's the female version of what's the dude's name?
Debo? She's either
Debo.
Debo or
She's
Baby
female
D.
Debo. No, she's definitely
You
Debo.
don't think
Baby
she's Baby
D.
D? Baby
Who's
D
Baby D?
Baby D was in Next Friday.
No, I don't remember Baby D.
She was like a big bully too. Like a big female bully who would beat up people. She tried to beat up uh Day Day, who was Craig's friend in Next Friday. So
Okay. Yeah, I recognize her.
yeah. So yeah, so they run down to go find Bernice and the woman that Keyshawn's been cheating with. And it was funny because they had like this whole uh someone who lived in the apartment complex who does hair was pretty much like, "Oh yeah, I saw Bernice at the park and Keyshawn was there and she was pretty much seducing him." And his rendition of the story was so outlandish. Like she was just kind of like twerking in the middle of a park with kids everywhere. And
And he,
like they like sensually ate a cone of vanilla ice cream together. So it was just a very dramatized version of the situation, but not really because Bernice is known as like a hoe who will take anybody's man, especially if they pack him like Keyshawn is, no matter how homeless he is. So
yeah, it was it was funny. They live in what is it called? The jungle, right? Which is a
they live
completely
in LA.
Western.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure where.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely
I
live in
know
LA.
LA, but I wasn't sure what part if they said.
No, they called it. They said, "Oh, I grew up in the jungles too," and
Well, that
it's
was
the
the
same.
apartment complex. I mean, like, what part of LA? Are they in Inglewoods?
I don't know. They didn't
Right.
say.
I
They
don't
didn't
know if
get
they
that,
said it.
but like it's the same sort of like complex that like Issa Rae lived. Well, her character lived
The
in her show,
Dunes.
the Dunes, exactly, right? And that is I always think it's interesting how different coasts have their hoods. You know what I mean? That's like the equivalent of like not necessarily the projects. They're higher up than the projects, but still like that's like their row homes. You know what I mean? Just a bunch of apartments that's in this little enclosed area. Whereas you don't see that in Philly. You see more so like the row homes or like the one like high rise apartment buildings, you know. So I thought that was pretty interesting how like every hood looks kind of different. And like even
Sometimes I see other people's hoods and I'm like, this is considered a hood to y'all? Y'all got front lawns. What are you talking about? You have
exactly.
garages. How is this the
You got
hood?
palm trees. Like, come
How is this the hood? Like, I don't
on.
get it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so this is funny because the next scene I think happened in Friday too. So they go to Bernice's house and Drew goes through the door and she's trying to distract Bernice while Alyssa goes into the back and sneaks into Bernice's bedroom window where she sees Keyshawn sleeping and she's rummaging through his pockets looking for the rent money. And I think the scene happened in Friday as well, where I don't remember, but Debo was asleep. And I think it was Friday, the first Friday. So Debo, yeah, it was the first Friday. Debo was asleep. And I think it was Craig who climbed through the bedroom window to try to get money back that Debo had stole from him or something like that. Yeah. So this is exactly a scene from Friday. So Alyssa,
That seems very familiar.
yeah, I can't remember, but this is exactly the scene from Friday. And even when I saw the trailer of this movie, they said it was like Girls Trip and Friday put together. So it was very
Yeah.
intentional to be like an homage to Friday, the LA scene. Even at one point when Drew and Alyssa go out to go find Bernice, um Drew is wearing this blue checkered shirt and a white beater underneath. And I'm like, she looks kind of like exactly what Smokey was wearing in Friday. So yeah. So eventually Keyshawn wakes up and then he pretty much tells Alyssa that he used all their money, all their rent money to invest in a t-shirt company.
These tacky Gucci sweaters with not even Gucci, just Gucci sweaters. That was that wasn't even
Fake
flamed with
Gucci
this.
sweaters, yeah. And when I looked at it, at first I was like, "Does he mean Coogi?" And I was like, "No, he means Gucci." That's even worse. That's
Yes, it's
even worse.
terrible.
These terrible Gucci t-shirts.
You know how many T-shirts you got to buy for $1,500, Mary?
And my thing is, you don't need that much money to start a t-shirt business. You can just go on, I don't know, 4imprint or what's the other one? Any t-shirt, any printing company, print out a few t-shirts on a need to know basis to see if you
Some
really
dudes,
like.
some dudes are just about the hustle. Remember Baby Boy? As we're talking about L.A. hood shows, and Baby Boy,
What he did was smart. He didn't need a lot of money. He just went to girls with
exactly,
stolen clothes, and he actually see what his clientele interest was before he poured all this money into a business.
yeah,
Even though the clothes are stolen, but it was a good gimmick, and he was charming. He could get the woman to buy his clothing,
nice clothes. But no, this
and they were
dude bought
actually nice clothes.
exactly, but knocked off men's clothes. It was bad. It was bad. And he's like, "Oh, I'll pay you back in extra, baby." And then, um,
Yeah. So a long story short, Bernice finds out, and she's pissed. She's pissed, and she makes it her her
mission
mission
to destroy those
to
girls.
destroy Alyssa and Drew. She's gonna find them, and she's gonna pulverize them with her
And
booty.
you know what? And rightfully so, because they broke into her house. They destroyed her aquarium with her snake in it. And then when she was chasing her, she ran into a parked car and busted her behind in front of everybody in the street. So
That's what
like,
you get for sleeping with somebody, man. I know it's his fault
he didn't.
too,
She
but
it's
it's
his
more
fault.
his fault. It's more on him. But I don't feel
It's
bad for
completely his
Bernice.
fault. Yeah.
But when I saw her, I was like, man, she is bad. I can get how she still how she still people mad. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, she was dumb fast too. She's dumb fast. Remember we used to this is a throwback. Remember we used to jump our cousin, like play fighting?
I do not know what you're talking about.
You a lie.
We still
And
keep in contact, and I don't want no smoke. She's still fast.
then yo, we used to run
Y'all used
and
to.
she used to be so fast, yo, and just like
You would purposely provoke her
always
to
to the
get her to
ground
chase you.
because she was so fast. It was insane. It was insane. But that's what she reminded me of when she was spraying down the street like that.
Yeah. All right. You want to continue, James?
Yeah. So while they were at the what's the girl's name? I've lost all.
Bernice.
Bernice. Okay. So while they was at Bernice's apartment, Alyssa recklessly parked in front of a fire hydrant and they got their car towed.
I don't think it was the
So
fire hydrant. It was just like, you can't park here. And she was like, we won't be that long.
yeah, I thought I saw a fire hydrant.
Oh, it
But
might have
anyway,
been.
they so they lose their car. They have no money. They realize that Keyshawn doesn't have the money. So they decide as they're walking down the street, they see a loan shark, right?
Not a loan shark, a loan
It's
bank.
a payday loan,
Yeah.
'Payday loan
Yeah.
uh, sites, right? And they are loan sharks, yo. It was
That
like
is true.
1900. It was like 1900, maybe 19,000% interest. I forgot.
It was. So my thing is, because I went to movie tavern again, and the movie tavern was ghetto when the button to deliver my food wasn't working. This part I wasn't paying attention because I was getting my order taken. What was Lucky saying? Cat Williams' character Lucky. What was he
So
saying
it
outside the
was
loan bank?
so when she went to the payday loan bank, right? Cat Williams, the character Lucky, he's homeless, and he's basically like, "Stay away. These people are the devil, and they will
Mm.
take all your money and everything."
Oh,
And
that's
if
how
you
he
can't
became
pay,
homeless.
yes, he said, "I owe them 15 loans." He was like, "I owe them 15 loans, and if you can't afford to pay this month, you're not gonna be able to afford to pay next month when they add the interest on top of it."
Mm.
And I think he was honestly giving them sound advice. So they
People
go
always
in,
ignore homeless people, but it's like when
they
you're in
do.
a situation like that, I would ignore it too. It's like, listen, I get you, but then again, yeah, you won't be you make the rent payment, you won't be able to pay that loan off since it accrues 19% interest every 3 business days.
19,000, yeah,
It was so
19,000.
funny because when Drew and Alyssa went inside the office to talk to the agent Kathy, who's on an episode of Abbott Elementary, and she's just as kooky and rude as she is um in Abbott, on the episode of Abbott. And
Oh, the loan officers on Abbott?
yeah, she's in an episode of Abbott.
Okay, okay.
So Kathy looks up Drew's credit score and she starts cracking up, like hysterically laughing. And she was like, I didn't think a credit score could be that low.
Her score was 122, y'all.
And Alyssa was like, what if we combine our scores?
Her score was 122. 122. That is putrid. I don't think like I think the credit score
I didn't think
range
it could be lower. I thought like 600 was the lowest it could go.
600. No, it's
Like
300 to 850. Hers is 122.
But then Drew really, she told her about herself. She was like, "You working here in the ghetto just like we are. Don't be getting all haughty, just because my credit score is low." Like,
Yeah. It was she laughed her out of the loan. She was like, "Oh, don't even worry about it. We just run your credit for a formality. We just need a job and a post. We'll give you this loan." He was like, "Nope,
mm.
we're not going to." So they leave, and then Lucky's happy. He's like, "Good job, like for not taking the loan."
And that
And
was
then
for the best. That was for the best. Not
it was
because
it was
you're gonna
definitely for
dig. That's a very short-term success with very heavy penalties in the long run.
yes, yes, it
Not
would. They
even
were
in the long
basically,
run. Yeah, y'all would be evicted the next month if y'all would have took that loan.
especially when they walked into the loan office, they saw the bounty list for all the people who didn't pay their loans on
And
the
King
wall.
Lola was on there.
King Lola was on there. Let's put a
Neighborhood
pin in
gangster. Actually, now that I think about it, King Lolo is a neighborhood gangster that everyone's afraid of. King Lolo is Debo. King Lolo's more like Debo, and Bernice is more like Baby D. If we're
that.
making the Fridays connection.
No, okay, I could take that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
could take
yeah.
that. So after they leave the loan shark, the payday loan place, they go to the
A
blood bank
bank,
and
yeah.
they realize that they can give
Have you ever went to
blood.
the blood bank to get some money? Have you ever been that
No,
low? No.
I never been that low. No, no,
Yeah, that's good.
not. I have not. Have you?
No, but I thought about like donating eggs. But then I stopped when I realized you can get a lot of weight, and I'm vain, so I was like, no. And when
Oh,
I realized that people don't actually want black babies, and
wow.
the people who do want black babies can't really afford stuff like that. But that's a whole nother morbid conversation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so they were giving out blood, and the uh the blood tech. I'm just gonna call it
The
blood
blood
tech.
tech.
Is it a proper name for it? What
The
is
blood tech. What's her name?
it?
I don't know the employee. The blood tech
So,
sounds
so,
crazy. Her name
but it
is
was
Ruby, and she's played by Janelle Jones. Janelle James. Who's Janelle James? James.
she's the principal on Abbott.
Ava.
She's Ava
My
on
favorite
Abbott,
character. I love her.
and she's just as bad as her job
Wait,
as being
this
a
is
blood tech
really not.
as she is the principal.
Yeah, I just want to say I cannot wait for Quinta and Issa Rae, to link up and do something. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I cannot
Why do you
wait.
think? Why do you think that's gonna happen?
Because it seems so obvious. Like they just seem like a match made in heaven. Like, okay, saying Janelle James is in the Issa Rae movie and also in Abbott. Kathy, the woman who plays Kathy, what's her name? Her real name.
Cat?
Yeah, she's the person who worked at the loan bank. Her name is Kayla
Oh,
Monterosso
Kayla.
Mejia. You should know how to say that, James. She was in an episode of Abbott. Their like brand of comedy is like awkward, you know what I mean, but still very black. Like they listen. I don't
Yeah.
know why they haven't collaborated yet. It needs to hurry up and happen.
But anyway, so it's a whole mess in a blood bank. Um, Drew, she's like, "Hey, if I get more blood, will you pay me more?" So she gives 4 pints of blood,
And
which
it's
is
so
almost
funny.
like
4 pints of blood. You're only supposed to donate a pint. If you lose a pint, if you lose any more than a pint, you're in serious trouble. And when
yes.
Alyssa walked in and saw Drew, she was ghoulish. She was gray. She was gray. I cracked up. And it's funny because Ruby was like, the blood tech, Ruby was like, "You're not supposed to donate more blood." And she was like, "Do it."
She was terrible.
Mm.
But also, what was also terrible, so the human body contains between 10 to 12 pints of blood.
So to
So
donate
you
four is crazy. What's that
would be
percentage?
highly that's almost a third. A, like a quarter of your blood,
Oh my
you're just
God.
giving it away. A third of your blood.
Oh my God. Listen, desperate times call for desperate measures.
It's completely unhealthy. And so the thing is, Alyssa came up and was like, "Oh, you're giving too much blood away," and she proceeds to take the needle off the arm and just made a whole like blood fountain thing that just made everything worse. And it just
It was just very strange because I was like, okay, she pulled out the IV. Um, why were they fighting over it for that long? Why didn't Alyssa just let go? Because they sprayed blood everywhere. It got on their teeth, it got on their clothing, it got on their hair, and I'm like, you guys are going to get hepatitis.
it's disgusting.
And you know,
so
I was just like, why were y'all fighting over this? Someone should have let go a long time ago.
so then they obviously don't get any money, but they get these
Yeah, they were like, no blood, no money.
apple pie coupons from Churchy's Chicken. So they go, so they somehow, some way, in her zombie state, they walk to Churchy's Chicken to get apple pie
But you know what?
coupons.
Really, real quick, they had to change clothes because their clothes
They
was
change
covered in
clothes.
blood. I don't know what
Yes.
they did to get the blood off their faces and skin and teeth and all that, but who cares?
Who
And
cares?
there was like this I guess this lost and found bin where they took clothes from, and what Drew found it in lost and found box and what she wore. Have you ever heard? Is this big debate about it? But have you ever heard of a poster girl outfit?
No.
So a
No.
poster girl outfit is the quintessential like 2010s, 20 teens like strip club outfit. Like it's the stripper uniform. If you are a stripper, you are wearing a poster girl's outfit. And you know, because stripper culture became and like stripper fashion became like very mainstream around that time, there were a lot of girls wearing those poster girls outfits, and strippers will be like, I heard this one stripper on TikTok say, listen, we weren't even allowed to wear those outfits outside of the strip club. So the fact that girls are just walking around with these outfits on a daily, where it's like, what? It was just a huge debate of like, stop wearing those poster girl outfits. So her wearing a poster girl's outfit in broad daylight and then had to wear it to a job interview later, it was crazy. Was crazy.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but continue.
So they get the churches. They try to get a biscuit. No, they try to get apple pies and change it for a
Because I
biscuit.
got that coupon. Churches is
And they
good. Churches is good, man. Them biscuits is good.
and they finally about to get their food, and they just get jacked by the biscuit thief, the
The
honey
honey
biscuit
biscuit
thief,
burglar.
honey biscuit
Because they don't have
burglar.
a car. So they tried to go inside, but there's a sign on the door of Church's Chicken that say drive
Drive
through
through only.
only, which is they
Yeah.
always do that in the hood after a certain time. Like the McDonald's down the street from me,
It was broad daylight.
I know, but in the hood, you know, I think because too much stuff happens inside, they don't want people coming into the store because too much stuff pops off. You know what Kendrick
Mm.
said and what happens in Church's Chicken.
Yeah, for real.
So they went to the drive-through. They had to like walk through the drive-through. They finally get their food, and yeah, they get burglarized. We remember in
Shit.
high school, James. It was like right after prom. We went to Dunkin' Donuts. And we went through the drive-through because we didn't have a car, so we used a shopping
Yep.
cart, and they told us to piss
Yes.
off.
They did. They
And
did.
I'm
I'm
like, we
about to
still
say,
have money.
there's been a few times where we walked through the drive-through without a car, and it's been marginally successful so far.
I'm like, we still have money. I get it's a safety concern, but you guys aren't held liable. I guess maybe they are held liable for taking orders through the drive-through.
I don't know if I pull up at the drive-through and just have a gun, pop pop. It's easier to rob than me being in the car. I feel like I could just run off with 1 foot. Anyway, speaking of cars, so while they're sitting and devastated because they can't get their biscuit,
Devastated,
um, they're devastated. They're
are they?
starving. And just, yeah, and they nothing is going right. Here goes Maniac. He pulls up in a black
We
Mercedes.
didn't say who Maniac was.
Well, Maniac, I was about to explain who that was. If
Oh,
you give
okay,
me a second, you
okay.
Maniac
Animaniac.
and a Maniac. Anyway, so Maniac was um he grew up in the same neighborhood as Drew, and Drew had a crush on him because in the earlier scene, Maniac was in Drew's mom's little convenient bodega in her house,
That's not
convenience
Drew's
store.
mom.
That's Drew's mom. Yeah, it
No, it's
is.
not. They call her
She called
Mama
her
Ruth.
mama. No,
Everyone
she
calls her
called,
Mama Ruth.
but she calls her mama.
Everyone calls her Mama Ruth. That's not Drew's mom.
Yes, it is.
No,
What are you
it's not.
talking about?
It's not her mom. Let me see.
That's her mom.
No, it's not. Let me see. If I'm wrong, I'll shut up. Is
You're
Mama
absolutely right.
Ruth? Google that,
Anyway,
John.
so
Drew's
after
mom. That's not her mom.
after now you throwing me off. You just that better be her mom
That's
too.
not her mom.
Yes, it
No, it's
is.
not. Um, Drew's mom. One of them days.
Anyway, he pulls up in a Mercedes and he buys them food and um Alyssa's like, okay, she knows that Drew has a crush on him, so she slides out the car, and then an emergency happens, which I don't understand what the emergency was. That Maniac had to drive away with Drew in the car. He was driving to some emergency, and she noticed that there was an axe underneath of his car. And my first thing was that this dude's either a murderer or a fighter fighter. That was my first thought when I saw the axe, right? And she was super concerned for her safety, and she was like, kind of what's going on here. Like, and he told her, like, yeah, I never been to jail, but I went to juvie. You know what I mean? So obviously he had a dark side of her. And I think she asked him, why did they call you Maniac? And he never really explained what his real name was. But um they eventually she gets a call from, I think Lucky calls her, right? And says that, hey, uh
Alyssa's in trouble. She about to die. Come now.
she's about to die. Exactly. I don't know how Lucky gets their number. But she shows up, and Alyssa and her crazy behind is on a power line with a broom trying to get some Jordans off of the power line. And it's like foolishness. She gets electrocuted. She falls down. She falls on Drew. They end up in an ambulance, but she gets the Jordans. And the Jordans that she get is worth a lot of money. And so she posts them on the gram.
They are worth, well, I think they're
They're
worth
worth
like 1,500.
2500. 2500.
Okay.
2500. So they post them on the gram. They was able to sell the Jordans, clean them up. They sold them to, remember, Little Ray. He was a rapper. He was in Get Out, the
Yeah, I remember
TSA
him.
work.
He's a comedian. He's not a rapper.
He's not a rapper named Little Ray.
He's
You
a
sure?
comedian.
Whatever. Anyway, um, uh, yeah, you contradicted me. Made me forget what I was going to say.
Yeah, Mama Ruth is not their parent. She just calls every. She's like the neighborhood mother. That's not her. That's not her mom. But
Okay.
yeah. So so I think it's so funny when Alyssa's trying to get them J's, and she gets electrocuted, and her hair is just a mess for the rest of the movie. And I also think it's funny. There's another part in the film. Speaking of hair, when Drew was talking to like the complex hairstylist, he's always like in the quad of their apartment complex doing people's braids, and he never finishes Drew's hair. Like the whole middle of her hair is unbraided because she has individuals of box braids. The whole middle of her hair is unbraided, even though you could clearly tell that it's a wig. Like if you're a black girl, you know that Kiki's actually wearing a lace front. But it's so funny because you don't know how many times growing up, every black girl has had this experience where you're getting your braids put in, but you ran out of time or it's getting too late. But what they do is they braid the perimeter of your hair. So if the middle isn't done, you could just pull your hair up into a ponytail and you hide the middle. There's even this post I seen on Facebook. People will be like, "Oh my god, I love your braids," and they'd be like, "Oh, thank you. I have to finish them because the middle is completely out. You just put in a bun to hide it." So, yeah, that was really funny.
No, the movie did a good job throughout of showing like relatable shit.
Cultural references, yeah,
Yeah, and
like the
relatable
poster
shit.
girl's dress, the hair, like
Like even the fact that their rent was due on the first, and they lost the money, and they couldn't obviously didn't have enough money to pay for it again.
mhm,
And I looked it up. According to NerdWallet, 57% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck.
fifty
You know what I mean?
percent is crazy.
57%.
What? That's crazy.
57 live paycheck to paycheck. And I feel like most Americans can't pay their rent/mortgage twice if they had to, right? Just back to back.
I wonder.
You know,
Yeah, I wonder what kind of Jordans they were that they found on that.
they look like just some ones. So I'm not. There probably was just like a game worn, but it's just Jordan ones that
Why
she
do we
had.
do that?
Why did we do what?
Why do we throw shoes on power lines? Why is that a
Oh no,
thing?
niggas. Niggas gonna nig, Mary. Who
I'm
knows?
think I thought maybe that was like a tribute to like the people who died. I've been seeing them my whole life, but I never questioned why they were up there. And then I'm like, oh, maybe they're because people died, and that's how they memorialize them by throwing up shoes on the power line. I never understood. It may be different. Their reasons may be different in L.A. than it is in Philly, but I always wondered. But so
Some people said it's so some common reasons include marking your territory. So it may
it's a
signify gang
jungle.
activity or mark.
I've been in a lot of gang. I knew this, but dang, man, they be right by the church, strung up.
It could also indicate a nearby drug dealing location.
Oh
Or,
wow, it's like a head, it's like a base, it's like a
head,
lighthouse sort of situation.
memorial or tribute, like you
Okay,
said.
yeah,
Um, Also random, but no, I think marking your territory is probably the reason, the most logical option
that makes
because
a lot of sense because I'm like
King Lolo
I don't
is pissed off.
understand why King Lolo later on King Lolo finds out that those are his Jordans, and he found out Alyssa took them and he wants money for them. And I was like, why would you be pressed on Jordans that you threw up on a power line? But that makes sense. That makes sense. If that's him saying, this is my territory, that makes sense why he wants them back and why he was actually keeping tabs on them.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah. So moving forward, Bernice is still trying to find Drew and Alyssa, and
She is like a dog, like a bloodhound, just
like a
chasing down.
bloodhound.
And the thing is Alyssa the whole time is an idiot, and she keeps texting Keyshawn and essentially passively letting him know where she's at, where they're at, and he did just tracking her down, and eventually they catch up with her.
So yeah, so what happens is they have the money from the shoes that they sold. And for
Hmm.
some reason, Alyssa's still holding on the money. Alyssa's still holding on the money. Why is Alyssa holding on to the money? But whatever.
She, I don't know why she don't go straight to the apartment and pay off.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, both. So Kiki's like, I don't have time to run home and change for the interview. I don't
Yep.
understand why both of them goes to the interview. I would have been. Then again, I just contradicted myself because I wouldn't trust Alyssa with the money either. What I would have done, because I was like, I was gonna say, I don't know why Alyssa doesn't go pay rent and Kiki goes to her interview instead of both of them going to the interview. But I'm like, no, Kiki's probably like, even though Alyssa still had the money, Drew, not Kiki. Drew's probably like, I'm not leaving Alyssa alone with this money. But I'm like, I don't know why Drew didn't take the money, go to her interview, and then later on go, you know, pay
Well,
rent.
her interview was at what I think 4 o'clock,
Was
and
at
the money
4,
was.
but by this point, she didn't have enough. The interview, she didn't have enough time. She only had enough time to get to her interview.
No, I'm saying, but the interview could have easily went 2 hours, and she wouldn't have had enough time to pay the rent. So at least like
A
having
2-hour interview.
Alyssa. I've had 2 hour interviews. It
Normally,
depends.
I never had a 2-hour. Well, just one time. But he was just extra. But mostly, my interviews are like 45 minutes, if even that. Even if they'd showing me around, it doesn't go to 2 hours. But I guess if getting back, they don't have a car. They have to take a bus back to the apartment. So
I'm just saying
yeah,
she needs.
yeah,
It didn't make
they're on a
any sense for
time
her.
crunch.
Either way. It didn't make any sense for her to be waiting outside. If she's waiting outside, flirting with
So yeah, so they get
the pocket fuck guy, and
So Kiki goes to her interview, still in her poster's outfit, but she also
she,
was able to find a blazer at the blood bank, so she's wearing a blazer on top, and she just
I
buttons it
think I
up.
think Lucky gave her that blazer.
Did
I
Lucky
think
give it
Lucky.
a blazer? Okay,
Lucky.
she has a
Yeah.
blazer. She still looks crazy because you can still see her lime green pants, you know,
I didn't think it
underneath the
looked
blue
bad.
blazer.
I don't think it looked bad.
It looks bad. Lime green pants. They were lime green pants, and I think they didn't look. And my thing is, I'm like, okay, you should have like took out the earrings because she was wearing these big heart shaped earrings. I'm like, okay, take out the earrings. You know what I mean? Because in interviews, they don't want you to look too black. Honestly, they don't want you to look too black. So I would have took out the earrings, like kind of like the more plain you are, the better. So they go to the interview. Kiki's kill Kiki. How many times am I going to call her Kiki? Drew is
True.
killing her interview.
She is. She really is. I was watching it proud. I'm like, okay, this is good. This is good.
The
She's doing a
second
really.
interviewer is a black woman, so automatically, not automatically, but they're able to connect in a way that the white man he isn't there. You know what I mean? And it is kind of a benefit when you're interviewed by another black person, especially if there's another black person of the same gender, because they just understand. things in a way that someone who isn't your same race may not understand. Like even when the white interviewer walked in, he said, "Oh, your name is Drew. Oh, spelled like that. Ooh, your mom gave you a hard time, didn't you?" And it's like, true, but why would you say that to me? Like, and then the
Yeah.
black woman walked in, and it was so professional, but they were ha and kiki palmering, so it worked. They just understood each other, and they were very impressed with Drew. And meanwhile, um, Alyssa's outside trying to get a snack from this fruit vendor. Um, you ever had what's she gets like fruit and they put like what's that spice called? I think it's called like Tajín. It
Tahine.
Tahine. She wants to get like some fruit with some tahine on it. And Keyshawn is texting her and she's about to ignore him, but she was like, "You know what? Let me show him what a real man, what a real job looks like." So she takes a picture with the fruit truck vendor and she sends it to him like an idiot because automatically Bernice can tell exactly where they are. And Bernice, sure enough, pulls up and starts whooping. She gives
She
her a beat
deserves.
down. She gives her a
She
beat
deserves it.
down.
She deserves it.
I think
She,
she doesn't
she
deserve
deserves.
it. She doesn't
She
deserve it
does.
because Drew
She
didn't
does.
deserve that.
No, she deserved that beatdown because she's an idiot and she brought it upon
I
herself.
don't think she deserves it. She doesn't
She brought it
think
upon herself.
things through. We all have a friends like that. Like I can see myself being friends with her and it's like I love you. You're so encouraging. Like she really tries to be a good friend. It's not that she's not a bad friend. She's just irresponsible. She's
Yes.
just irresponsible and she doesn't think things through. And like I said, she is heavily stigmatized by Keyshawn.
I can't. I can't. I don't know.
That's not a
I,
friend you take trips with. That's not a friend that you allow them to play the rent money. You always need a plan B for that friend because they don't even, it's not like it'll be different if she was just sabotaging Drew's success. She sabotages her own success. She's just some people are like that. They just I don't know.
yeah. So she's getting beat down, and then Drew goes during her interview. She's trying to ignore the fighting outside, but it's obvious that she knows Alyssa
Because Alyssa is
is
literally
calling
calling
for
for
help.
Drew's help because she is getting beat down. And I'm just like, Alyssa, I would not have said anything. But then I was like, okay, Bernice was taking the money, but I would not have called Drew's name if I was Alyssa. I just would have took that beating. At least tried
Yeah.
harder to fight. Like, come on, Drew. Like, come on, Alyssa. Like she shouldn't have been flipping you like that. And she was like,
For-
Drew. And I was like, girl, stop calling her name. Then I was like, wait, she does have the rent money. She does have the rent money.
and this is also L.A. Yo, she could kill her for real. For
I
so
guess,
after
yeah. She was saying Drew, and Drew tried to ignore her because literally, the interviewers were right there and they can clearly see outside what was happening. And here is Alyssa calling Drew's name. So imagine you're an interviewer. What would you do in that situation? You had a great interview with someone. She came in looking crazy, but the interview was fantastic. She's knowledgeable, she's intelligent, she's dedicated. But then you see that ratchet stuff going outside. Two girls fighting, and one of them calling your interviewee's name. As an interviewer, would you still offer her the position?
absolutely not. I don't got time for the drama.
Hmm. I wouldn't
Absolutely not.
either. Yeah.
I don't got time for the drama because if you got this drama now, you can have this drama coming into work. You can have this drama in the restaurant. You can have this drama. Like I'm customer facing. You know what I mean? Like you can have this drama everywhere. I don't got time.
So Drew runs out to help her friend, but they manage to fight her off. But no, Drew beats both their asses. Takes
They
them,
did.
not Drew, Bernice beats
Bernice
both
does.
of them. Takes her money and dips. So once again, they do not have the rent money.
And Keyshawn just stands there and watch it happen.
Keyshawn just says, "I'm sorry," or something like that. Now,
Yep.
you
And
got
not
knocked the f out. That was actually a never callback. Them lying on the ground and him above them, but he didn't say that because, yeah,
Keyshawn owes them $3,000.
exactly. Keyshawn owes him all the money.
Yes.
So, Alyssa admits to texting Keyshawn, and that text um, is what helped Keyshawn and Bernice find their location. And Drew cusses her out rightfully. She said, "What is wrong with you? You really do all this for a man who doesn't love you, he doesn't like you, he doesn't respect you. Like, you have all this art that you do not put out for people to see, and you're just self-sabotaging, and you just think the universe is going to solve all your problems, and you're lazy. She cusses her out. And I think Keke Palmer's performance really shines because I don't know, it seemed very real. Their argument seemed very real. And also Alyssa's art is not good, but who cares? It's not good. But and then for some reason, um I understand you're not gonna let yourself get cussed out, but Alyssa says something along the lines of, "Oh, it's not only my fault here," and I'm like, "Girl, yes, it is. All of this is your fault. Drew just said
Well,
nothing wrong. All of this is your fault."
I think it's when so it's Drew faults too
How?
because you need to, like I said, in my opinion, right? You gotta separate yourself from people like that. I'm sorry,
They're
you do.
roommates.
You don't
They've
have
been
to be
roommates
roommates.
for 7 years.
You could change
I
that.
mean, but I mean for this immediate situation, it's too.
Yeah,
She can't change roommates out of the blue. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
her only
It's
fault, I guess, is not picking more responsible friends. But I'm talking about for this current
exactly.
situation, this is not her fault. Her only fault was to entrust Alyssa with that money. That's her only
Yeah,
fault. But it's also like that shouldn't be my fault. I should be able to trust my friends and be responsible and not give money to their homeless boyfriend. Like,
and I also would assume this isn't the first time that she had to pay the rent. Like, if their roommate, they probably
no, no, no.
pay,
This definitely isn't the first time they lit on rent. That's why Uchi, their landlord, is like,
is over it.
yeah,
He's over it.
he's done. He's done. Even though, come to find out, their apartment was a piece of crap. So
But they
they
rented
had
it
like
out.
pretty much unlivable conditions. Like there was a part of their ceiling, their plaster ceiling, that every time the door closed, a piece of their plaster would fall on the floor from the ceiling.
And the disgusting thing is, which happened in real life, is that the owner rented out, renovated the apartments up store, raised the rent, and so it's the white people in the same building.
Yeah,
That happens all the time.
yeah,
I'm gonna renovate it, rent it out, increase the rent. Everyone else is in the projects, but they don't know. Eventually, they'll move out. I'll renovate that too, increase the rent.
yeah.
That's how gentrification just slowly happens, even in one building like that.
In one building, it's disgusting. But anyway,
So,
Alyssa's like, it's not my fault, Drew, that you hate your life. Like you should have left the diner a long time ago, and and it's like I get that, but I'm like, Alyssa, just shut up and take it. You have no dog in this fight. And while they're arguing, they get a call from the big homie, King Lolo himself. And like we said, he says, listen, y'all stole my Jordans. You have until 10 p.m. to give me 5 G's for them, or I will kill you.
yeah, which
Dun,
is
dun,
also
dun. Was also a
yeah, which is
callback
like,
to, I think it was the first Friday. There was a man named Big Worm, and I forget how, but Smokey and Craig.
oh, he smoked all the weed.
Smokey's dumbass was supposed to sell the weed, and he ended up smoking it.
He smoked
He
all the
smoked all of
weed.
Big Worm's weed, and Big Worm was like, "If you don't have my money or my drugs, I'm gonna kill you."
Yep.
So yeah, I never call back. But what were you saying? Can't remember.
No, no. I was saying when I originally watched it, I was confused why one, he would ask for so much for those shoes, and two, why did he think those shoes belonged to him until we found out that territory thing.
Because I was
Um,
like, how, like, what? Were you so worried about shoes that you threw up on the power line? But now we know it's the mark, it's the ghetto marking of territory,
yep.
which is kind of hard. I do like it because it's subtle, you know.
So they are so the girls are despondent. They walk back to the
Yeah, they
apartments.
go back home and then they find that all their
All
stuff
of
is on the sidewalk. Uche has
yep,
had enough. He's like, y'all don't have enough time to pay me back. I know you're not going to. And Drew was like, that's unlawful.
illegal.
That's against the law. Yeah, it's not the first yet. Rent's due on the first. It's not the first yet. We still have time. And he says, okay, look. If you can find the money before the time is over, I will personally move all your stuff back into apartment. And my thing is, now that he knows that he has an ulterior motive, he was trying to get them out anyway to renovate that place and let some white people like Bethany move in.
He was,
Bethany,
and
the girl who did
speak
not clean up after her dog, pissed me off.
exactly. I know. I saw that scene. I'm like, this is gonna piss Mary off.
Oh my God. Because I didn't tell you guys. So I went to a friend's apartment, a beautiful apartment, and her roof The roof of her apartment building is literally a rooftop lounge. It has a view of Coney Island. It is beautiful. They have these planters out. They're going to put chairs out. Beautiful. It's literally like a rooftop lounge. Why was their dog poop up there? Two different people let their dog poop up there. And I just can't understand the mentality. You live there. You live there. What is
It's
wrong with
literally
you?
don't crap where you eat. That's like common
Ugh,
sense.
that pissed me off. I didn't like Bethany immediately. I was like, you're not going to pick up after your dog? Like, what?
Hmm.
Mm. So, yeah. So Bethany comes out and she's like, she sees one of Alyssa's painting because, like I said, all her stuff is on the street. I don't think the painting's great. She loves it. She pays $300 for it. And then she pretty much tells her that she has like a huge social media following. And then Drew gets the idea. She was like, okay, we're going to have like a little art show. If you and your friends wanted to come and buy more of Alyssa's painting, we're going to have the art show right here in the quad. So they make flyers. Bethany gets the word out, and people actually come to buy art, and they really start to raise the money. And another
It's
person that comes,
it's by far their most
lucrative idea,
lucrative idea. Exactly.
even though the
Exactly.
art isn't good. The
It's
art isn't
it's
good. And I've been to many art shows, and I well, okay, they're all Bethany's
sometimes
friends. They're all Bethany's
so-
friends, so I guess they
yeah,
have money.
sometimes people buy art not so much for the quality of the art, but the artist and where they bought it from, and as a discussion piece. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I spent $200 on X because I bought it here at there, and something you could talk about and kind of flaunt, especially if it's only his original piece and no other copies. Like that's why people buy it.
It's an original piece because the artist is unknown yet. They only made one. It'll be different if we're talking about like a big artist. But no, I get you. It's like the sentimentality behind it. I just didn't think it was good. But and I've been to a lot of art shows, and I was like, okay, a lot of Bethany's friends and people with money had to come because I went to a lot of art shows, and I love the art, but I cannot afford it. It's like and not a lot of people buy things. If I buy things, they're like small little prints, or maybe like a
Yeah,
painting.
we went to this like this charity gala, and they have like silent auctions, and those are fun too. Where you basically
Hmm.
just write your bid on a piece of paper and come back. Those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like,
So yeah, so like I said, the person who interviewed Drew came, and they kind of patched things up. And she told Drew, she said, listen, I'm going to give you a call. Like, I don't know what was going on back then, but I am still very interested in you. And everything is looking up. So who crashes the party, James?
King mother effing Lolo,
I'll let you
just
finish
pissed
it
off.
off. Yeah.
He's all cockeyed, right? And he's like,
I think he's kind of cute, though. Who played
of
him?
course you.
He was kind of cute. What's his name? King Lo is played by Amin Joseph. Let me Google him, see if he kind of cute. But continue.
so King, so King Lolo, right? He's like, hey, where's my money? And he pulls out his gun, and Drew's like, you could shoot me in front of all
Yeah, he
these
kind of
people.
cute. I'm looking at his
King,
pictures.
King Lolo shoots in the sky, just pop one in the air. Everyone scatters. He's like, what people?
Mhm.
He's like, you give me my money, you can stop playing with my gangster.
Mhm. Stop
And I was
playing with me.
I was like, yo, the dude's really about to kill
No,
him.
he's
So
insane. He's literally insane. It's very scary when you have like I know that some gangsters, they don't kill from the love of it. They kill because they feel like they need to. He looks twisted. He feels like he enjoys it. He's not mentally stable.
no, there's something wrong with this dude.
Like I feel like he was foaming out the mouth a little bit when he spoke.
But also there's something wrong with Alyssa. Alyssa was like, we're not
Alyssa
giving
is
him nothing.
crazy. She was like, "We're not going to give him the money," and I
Like
was
what?
like, girl, what is wrong with you? I would have been like, absolutely not. I'm not playing with you, Alyssa. And she was like, listen, if Alyssa was like, if we give him the money, we're still going to be back in the hole. Like later, we're going to keep the money. And if I was Drew, I wouldn't have given her plan either. It's like, no, girl, you've been ruining my life all day. I'm not listening to
You're
you.
not, you've been ruining my life all day. You're not gonna end it with this maniac.
And even,
So
Alyssa was like, okay, I'm going to distract Lolo. So while they were talking, Alyssa just says, "Hey, Drew, this is a distraction." We're like, "Nigga, what?" Distraction is supposed to be subtle. She's like, "This is a distraction, bitch." I'm like, she is crazy.
crazy, yo.
Oh my goodness.
Crazy. So they run off. Lulu is chasing them.
Lolo.
Like literally, Lolo is chasing them, firing shots down the street. and
Oh,
they dive
Kayshawn is with them
under.
too.
Oh,
Somehow
Keyshawn's
Keyshawn ends up with them.
no. This is later on. So he runs. It's just the two of them. They're running the street.
Oh
King
yeah, yeah.
Lolo, King Lolo is chasing them. They hide under this box truck. And he's about to find him until we just see some lights, like looking at him, like just like a car pull up and flash the lights at him. And King Lolo's like, "You're never gonna take me," and starts running away. So the girls get
He's
back.
insane.
They get back to the apartment, and this is where Keyshawn's in the apartment with candles lit everywhere, and
Trying to
he's
get
like
Alyssa back, yeah.
trying to get Alyssa back, feeling bad or whatever. Like he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, whatever." And I think Alyssa's kind of listening to him a little bit, and until one of the candles knock over, and or no, I think yeah, the candles knock over, and I forget the order, but anyway, King Lolo pops in, knocks on the door.
Somehow the candles start a huge fire in the apartment.
Yep. After King Lolo knocks into the room, about to kill the three of them, and he gets knocked out by a piece of plaster that falls from the ceiling.
Like we said,
And
whenever the door closes or opens, a piece of flat plaster falls from the ceiling in the exact same spot. So it must have been an act of God that plaster fell and knocked King Lolo out, even though plaster is never that heavy.
oh, gravity. So
It
he
was
gets
not
knocked
that. Their ceilings is not that high. I was
so
like, okay. Even DQ was like, plaster's not that heavy. It's like, I know, but okay.
and also to be honest with you, they're on the top level, so not like it's fell from like 15 feet down. It only fell
That's
from
what I'm
like probably
saying.
5
The ceilings are
feet.
not that high. Like,
Yeah. So he knocked out. They decide to save his monkey behind, and they take him and they drag him to the room or whatever. And they're about to die, but then the fire department comes up and saves the day. And guess who's swinging the axe? It's Maniac.
but one thing that Drew found out, so Alyssa's diversion was actually to call the loan shark and
hmm
well the payday loan and let them know, because I remember you said there was like a wall, like a wanted wall, and King Lolo was on that wall. And it's kind of
hmm
sad that she didn't think to call the police. She thought to call the loan shark office because they gonna want to get their money. And they
exactly.
set the
The
police
cops.
up, and that's how they found Lolo and everything. So Alyssa
I
did have a good diversion plan. For once, she had a good plan.
I thought what she would do is I thought she would have White Bethany
I
call the
thought
police.
Bethany would call the police too. I don't know. I'm actually surprised she did. Maybe she knows not to call the police on black people. Because she would ask them. She was like, "Die," when they were she was eavesdropping on Alyssa and
yeah.
Drew's conversation about dying, and she was like, "What do you mean die? What's going on?" So I thought she would have called the police, but I guess she was like, "Let me mind my white business." You know, if they're saying
Exactly.
it's okay, which I understand. I do understand, but it's like in that moment, it's like, girl, no, I want you to be a Karen. I want you to be nosy. But
hmm
so yeah, it's Maniac. So he's not a drug dealer. He's a fireman.
He's a fireman.
Oh man, he's a fireman.
I'm just mad he doesn't have a name. I'm mad. He was like, "Yeah, don't call me Maniac no more," especially in front of my firefighter buddies. Call me like Brad or something. I don't know, just something like.
I'm like, of course, if your name is Maniac, why would I think you're a firefighter? I guess you do have to be a maniac to run into burning buildings.
He said that he went to juvie and then he went to a fire academy
Okay.
or whatever,
He
and
turned his life
then
around. Amen.
turned her life around. Yep. So, the end credits reveal right that now Drew is a successful franchise manager. Um.
Oh, what happened to Uche?
Oh, Uche, he gets a citation from the fire department for having unsafe. It wasn't up to code.
Yeah, because how was that apartment so flammable? It
Yeah.
was like he
Yeah.
spilled oil everywhere. That apartment was extremely flammable. And
Those t-shirts was also flammable too. He tried to fan it with the t-shirts.
this is way off topic, but not really. There was this one incident of this building somewhere in the UK, and it was like a low income housing building. And what the building was made out of was so incredibly flammable. And it was a huge building. The whole building went up in smoke. People described the photos and the footage of the incident to look like a terroristic bombing. And
Wow.
so many people died because the
Wow.
codes, that building was not up to code. And
Mm.
so many people died needlessly. Very sad. So it reminds me of that situation.
Yeah. So no, he definitely deserves all the fines and stuff. You know. So yeah, the end credit the end credits reveal that Drew is now a successful franchise manager. And she's getting taken to work by her new boyfriend, assumably Maniac.
Maniac.
Um,
Like you introduce him as Maniac to every people.
for real, this is little Manny. Call him Manny.
Oh, in the meantime, they're living with Mama Ruth,
Drew's
who is
mom.
not Drew's mom. But they're living
So
with
then,
Mama Ruth in the meantime. I would not. I'll be like, listen, Alyssa, I'm not. We not roomies no more ever again in life. I love you. We can still be friends. I'm not living with you. I would never live with a good friend of mine. I just won't.
mm-mm,
Unless you
mm-mm,
literally had nowhere else to live, I would never. That's the quickest way not to be friends with someone is to live with them.
it is. So Alyssa's able to sell her paintings for $1,000 each. So she's getting that money up too. And then,
$1,000 from them is crazy.
yeah, it is. You up for those pictures?
Yeah. There was one thing that I forgot to mention. This is, I just think it's a fun fact. When they were at churches, when Maniac picked them up and he saw um Drew in that crazy outfit, he was like, "Where y'all coming from?" And SZA was like, gymnastics." Not SZA. Alyssa was like gymnastics, and I thought it was funny because before SZA's singing career took off, she really thought she was planning to be a gymnast, and she's actually really good. There's a video with her and Simone Biles, like,
Oh, I remember that. I
yeah, she can
remember
do
that.
like
Yeah,
a handstand, and like she can do a lot of things. Like she was really training to be a gymnast until her music took off. So I was like, that's funny.
that is funny.
Yeah.
So, what would you rank this movie, Mary?
I'll give it a large bag of popcorn. I had a good time. Like I wasn't expecting much to be honest. It's a comedy film, but I enjoyed myself, and that's all that matters. Like I'm not. There was nothing that I used to pick the plot over. It was a very enjoyable movie. I'll give it a large bag of popcorn. Watch that, John. Definitely.
I agree. I like the buddy comedy show where it's typically just two people and they're just struggling through life together.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's like it's always a character who's super type A and a character who literally doesn't even know what they're going to eat for dinner that day. And that
Yeah.
that duality, it's just fun. It's just fun.
Yes, it is.
Think Drake and
And
Josh, Keenan and Kel. I don't know.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was hilariously funny. I
Even
think,
with
like you
Keenan and
said,
Kel, though, I can't really tell who was the straight man because they were both crazy. Keenan was always scheming, and Kel was just incredibly stupid. So
yeah.
together, Keenan and Kel's so good. But
So yeah, I thought that I could immediately see the parallels like we talked about in the whole show, between
the movie.
Friday
Oh yeah, yeah.
and even at some points the ridiculousness
Girls Trip.
um of Don't Be a Menace in South Central.
Really? What part?
Just the feel of it, just like
Okay.
how just they got electrocuted and they just get beat up and everything, and just like just the
That's still
non
one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
yeah. What is it called? What's the
Don't be
full
a
title?
menace while drinking juice in South Central, something like that. Let me see the full title. We should know. Our black cards are revoked. Let's see.
Don't Be a Menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
Yeah, yeah. Which was a parody of all those other movies, like
Yes.
whatever. You get the gist of it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All
So
right.
no, I also gave it a large bag of popcorn. Go watch that, John.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to another episode. Tell them where to find us, Tuba.
You can find us at Watch That John at YouTube, and Instagram. You can also find the Watch That John podcast on our Instagram and YouTube page. Um, Also, you can listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and where else you find your podcast. So, thanks for listening. Until next time.
Bye.